Well, hello and welcome to the stream. Let's go ahead and see what we can get into. We're going to do a little bit of anything goes from the line. What if? Enjoy the stream. The point contains maybe across all these time zones. I'm doing so for New York City. Cannot wait. Here's Dr. Malachi Martin. For a long time, I've been honest European some sort of truth. Some of these compulsions are you there. American Southwest, I think you all the evening. This morning across all these many time zones, stretching from Tahiti and Hawaiian Islands to the Caribbean and the U.S. Virgin Islands. This is Coast to Coast and beyond. Good to be here, everybody. First, Richard Hoagland. Mixed signals, we don't know at this hour, and I'll give you what I've got. I have the following facts. Well, all right. I just got off C-SPAN's program line. By the way, they said they were updated by 7 p.m. And guess what? Looks like they bailed out on covering the Richard Hoagland's press conference. Also called CNN today. They gave me a very quick firm answer. No, and we're not going to cover it. Are any of us surprised? I think not. I question their interpretation of news. I ordered your newsletter in mid-February, anxiously awaiting my first copy. Can't wait to read the articles on heart. And I'm listening to your show, find it very informative and enjoyable, so forth. In Los Angeles, thank you all. So that's one side of it. The other side is, I just spoke with Pete Rowland, and he says that CNN indeed does have a spot there, that C-SPAN may be changing their mind at the last moment, and the Discovery Channel is going to be there. Now, that leaves me a little bit out in the cold. I have no idea what's going to happen. I do know one thing that is going to happen, and that is the news conference is going to be covered live on my IRC Internet Relay channel at 6 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. And you will actually be able to get on that channel and ask questions and watch the incoming text as the news conference proceeds. So, in order to get instructions on how to get to the IRC Relay channel, simply go to my webpage, and everything you want will be up there. That, of course, is www.artbell.com. www for the World Wide Web, .artbell.com. And it will instruct you how to get to the IRC Relay channel. So, folks, that's all we know right now. It figures right up until the very last moment it's going to be touch and go. We'll see. The times for the news conference are in the morning at 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern. Adjust for points in between or beyond. Mr. Bell, just a heads up to let you know they're planning a series of tests with HARP beginning this Friday, tomorrow. Apparently, some sort of joint test with the Space Shuttle Atlantis. Now get this. They said the Northern Lights would be extra special that evening. Anyway, I thought you might like to know, and if you already have this, please disregard. Love your show, and so forth. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Um, Very interesting. That facts from Valdez, Alaska, so they're about to crank up our folks. New extra special treat for the Northern Lights. So that's where everything stands, and we don't know at this hour, one way or the other. We know it is going to take place. We know it's going to be on the IRC Relay Channel, and we think we know that CNN and Discovery are going to be there, and that C-SPAN may be there. Who knows? A second trial, as you must know by now, has resulted in guilty verdicts. Guilty of murder in the first, with special circumstances. Now, that's very important. For the shotgun killings of both the Menendez brothers, well, the parents in Beverly Hills. 6 years ago, they would have inherited $14 million. First trial was a hung jury. This trial, conducted by an 8-man, 4-woman jury, and this time the abuse excuse was disallowed. Incest, psychological terror, all the things they talked about they were afraid of, that caused them to go into the middle of the night with shotguns and to blow their parents away. Their attorney said the disallowal of the abuse excuse was unfair. It shows that fairness is draining from the system. Gil Barsetti in L.A. getting a much-needed victory after the O.J. Simpson case. Now, Monday, the penalty phase of this trial will take place. The Menendez brothers' festival is for life in prison. Very possibly, instead, it's going to be the death penalty. Why? Because the jury attached special circumstances to the first-degree murder verdict. That definitely allows for the death penalty, and we'll see in California. So, does this in any way restore your faith in our justice system? Justice perhaps delayed, but seemingly done in the end. I wish the news was better today. The other story there are more. From New Jersey, a teacher, Kathleen Weinstein. This is a teacher who taught special education to children. And she was murdered in a carjacking by a 17-year-old. The haunting words of a school teacher pleading for her life during the carjacking, preserved incredibly by this alert woman who somehow activated a tape recorder, recorded the whole thing, including her own murder, on a small, very small tape recorder, unknown to the 17-year-old killer. The community in New Jersey is in a rage. Get this. She had been the founder of a program called Random Acts of Kindness. Random Acts of Kindness. A victim herself of a random act of violence. She, on the tape, begged him to take her car, leave her life, said, "You'll be caught. You're making a decision about your life with what you do here." A teacher to the very last. And then I guess on the tape, the sound of her choking to death as he went ahead and killed her. I wish the news was better, but it really isn't. And in New York, a big fight again about the death penalty, involving a case of a brutal murder of a police officer by 3 armed robbers just last week. The governor of New York, Governor Pataki, unlike the former governor of New York, believes in the death penalty, particularly in a case like this. But you see, the district attorney, elected DA, does not particularly believe in the death penalty. As a matter of fact, he has come right out and said he believes that the death penalty is not a deterrent. Governor Pataki is so beside himself that he's saying he may try to remove the elected DA. The DA says if the governor does that, he will sue him. So the fights over the death penalty in New York continue. I guess what got me more than anything else tonight is the Random Acts of Kindness program. This woman who started that program dies in a random act of violence, a carjacking, where she's told the guy, don't worry, take my car, leave my wife. And so he goes ahead and kills her. In Chechnya, looking about the globe a little bit here, there was heavy fighting today. 30,000 dead in that war so far could be the end of Yeltsin's bid for a re-election. Every village in Chechnya is now a haven for guerrillas, and they're threatening to take more Russians hostage and kill them. Now, every single night, you see, these people have already lost everything. Numerically, just about every family in Chechnya has lost somebody to the Russians, who have got 40,000 soldiers there occupying Chechnya. But every night when the sun goes down, the Chechens grab their guns and kill as many Russians as they can. When you're dealing with somebody who has already lost everything, you're dealing with a very, very dangerous person. Chechnya is clearly Russia's Vietnam. It's going to take out Yeltsin. It's going to take out any chance the Russian people have for real peace. They're not going to have it. And they're eventually going to lose Chechnya or kill everybody there, and in the process lose an awful lot of their GIs. Interesting study by the RAND Corporation says the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And it would seem to be quite a bit of substantiation here. The lowest 10% of income earners in the U.S. between 1973 and 93 have lost 21%, adjusted for inflation. In 73, they were making $14,184. In 1993, only $11,220. So they lost ground, adjusted for inflation, 21%. The highest 10% increased 22%. In 1973, the highest 10% made $89,000 on average. In 1993, $108,580. So, where does all this lead? This difference between the rich and the poor. Where does it go? Is it eventually going to lead to some kind of revolution? People talk about these things. How do we correct it? Do we redistribute the wealth? A change in the tax code? How do we correct this before it corrects us? Ross Perot looks like he's going to run. He now says if his supporters and his Reform Party call on him, he will answer the call. Sounds like Ross is going to run. Bob Dole said if Ross Perot does run, it's going to make things harder for him, noting that Perot, quote, has a lot of money, end quote. Faced with such a choice, what would you be inclined to do? Now, I look at Bob Dole much the way I look at George Bush. I look at Bill Clinton, frankly, very much the way I look at Dukakis. In that election, I voted for Ross Perot. I'm not sorry. I don't know that I will repeat it this time, but it looks like Ross is going to run again. And we'll see what he has to say. I wonder how you feel about that. Is he a spoiler? Possibly. Here's a fax from Wisconsin. Dear Art, I'm writing from a city of 50,000 here in Wisconsin. Janesville, actually. The quickening is taking its toll here. In less than a year, our small city has seen 2 gruesome murders in which husbands murdered wives in bizarre and violent ways. Husband 1 stomped his wife, my friend, to death right in front of their 2 small children. Wisconsin has no death penalty, so the man got life. Eligibility to parole in 15 years. Days after that one, a second man shot his wife 5 times, then dismembered her body into 9 separate pieces with a hacksaw and an X-Acto knife. In the second murder is it related to the easy sentence of the first? Who knows? Also from our area, 2 rapists who brutally beat their victims in separate incidences were sentenced this way by the same judge. One sentenced to 1 year in the county jail because the judge said he looks like a nice guy. The second sentenced to 6 months in jail and 6 months work release. The same judge sentenced a rapist of a 3-year-old child to 1 year in the county jail. Now, we don't live here in some hick town. Our area is very white-collar, reasonably wealthy. I believe an organization making judges responsible for their decisions needs to be founded. Finally, in the March 11th issue of Newsweek, page 51, there's a photo from the Jerusalem bus bombing. Did anyone else see the face of a Christ-like figure in a mangled bus? It jumped out at me, gave me goosebumps. Curious whether you or any of the other listeners noticed it. Cindy in Janesville, Wisconsin. So this brings me to something I'm going to do this morning. I'm going to do a little rough stuff and a little fun stuff. The rough stuff is, I've never done this. I have talked now with you for years, couple anyway, about what I call the quickening. And I thought that it would be appropriate to make a list, actually, of things that contribute to or are part of the quickening. I can do it, but I'd rather have you do it. So if you have something that you would consider a sign of the quickening, call me and give it to me, and I'll put it on my list. We're going to make a quickening list. And then concurrent with that, and this may carry through tomorrow's show as well, I'm sure, I've always wanted to do a night of what ifs. Last night, we had several people calling in with all sorts of what ifs. And so I thought, why not just do a night of what ifs? So, with whatever else you call about, if you've got a really good what if, I'd like to hear it. Ranging from a conflict with China to the results of an awakening as a result of the Homeland press conference. Anything you would like to do a what if on, I'm all for it. So we are going to do a quickening list of what if kind of nights and a number of other things. I've done a fax here on China too from a lady that I will read to you in just a moment. Now, again, 2 items. One is a list of things, and I'll take one from each person the things that you believe contribute to the quickening, signs of what I call the quickening. We have never made a list. We have talked many times, but have never made a list. Tonight, Michelle. And then, I know a lot of you are very good at this, and I love scenarios and what ifs. So I thought, why not devote a night to what ifs? So if you've got a good one and you would like to intrigue us, cause us to think a little bit, well, come on forward. Give us your what if. So that's a kind of little hint of what we might do. But anything that's on your mind is fair game. Coming up next. I control every player from Studio CM from Launch Target 1996. The current economy is like a stretched out rubber band. Indeed. The rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer. There are two reasons for this. The first is that to become prosperous in the new economy, you've got to be literate in reading and computer technology. Second point is not to become a single parent. I don't think it's going to lead to a revolution with the poor. What are the poor going to do? Sabotage the internet? They don't even have good access to computers. The new routes to prosperity are not Interstate 5 or Route 66. They're fiber optics and the internet. Dave from Merced, and Dave, I could not agree with you more. And I've said this a million times, and I'll say it again. Parents, if there's anything you can do for your children that will brighten their future, get them a computer. You know, the one guy who really had it together on this and was ridiculed for it was Newt Gingrich. And he was absolutely right. He made some comment about getting poor people computers. He was dead right. People may have laughed, but that is, I believe, the route to prosperity today and for the foreseeable future. I believe that. All right, I want to update you a little bit on our telephone lines, and then we will begin using them. Our international line is still not, well, I'm not sure about it, but according to what I heard earlier, is not functional. But I will give out the number just in case. What they tell me is that, and AT&T is really being wonderful about this. There is no such thing, as I told you, as an international 800 line. But what we're trying to do now has been bumped all the way upstairs at AT&T, and they've got their best lines, their best computer and engineering people working on giving us exactly what we wished for. A true 800 toll-free international line. There is no such thing yet. But we may be the first in the nation to get it, and they're doing their damnedest. And so, actually, I want to say, way to go, AT&T, whether or not they manage to do it. They're making a maximum effort to try. And I want them to know I appreciate it. And the network appreciates it. We're well across the world now on the internet. Real audio, courtesy of WVSL in Port St. Lucie and now WOAI in San Antonio, which means access to the internet anywhere in the world, and you can sit and listen to the program. As a matter of fact, you can do it while you're doing other things on your computer. So we are there. Whether we can get you here or not, I don't know. But I want to applaud AT&T for giving it a real go. And they may be able to do it. And if they can, we will be the first in the nation to have such a line. Now, what you might try doing is dialing. I'll give you our international toll-free line, but I do not believe that it is yet functional. It is 1-800-893-0903. You might try dialing your country's country code first, or our country code, the U.S. country code, and then that number. But I do not believe it is yet functional. That was late tonight, so I'm sure it is not working, but in case you're out there somewhere and you want to try it, well, now speak up, and here it is ringing. That number is 1-800-893-0903. I cannot resist. Let's see what's there. Hello, you're on the air. Hello there. No, guess not. Too bad. Somebody did manage to get through somehow. Wild card line, you're on the air. Hello.
Pardon me, Jim, LA.
Yes, hi, Jim.
Hi. Absolutely depressing news on to start things out.
Boy, it really is.
Pardon?
I said it really is. Murders here, murders there, convictions, beatings, stompings.
Just horrible. Let me turn it off real quick. I'll be right back.
Oh, I guess he means his radio. Now, you gotta have your radio next to your phone, folks, so that you can do that right away. Yes.
What if Raoul puts his hand over his heart and sings the national anthem in heaven?
Well, I think I don't expect it. What if?
And now I have a joke.
I thought that was it.
No. The joke is, you know the last two words of the national anthem? Play ball.
Goodbye, Jim. Play ball. Yeah, that is probably really true in a lot of ways, isn't it? Play ball. Oh boy. Let's see. On our wild card line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hey, Bill.
That's true.
I made it through. This is good. How are you doing?
Fine.
Good. First of all, I have a good name for your cat. I've
named our cat. The name of that cat contest is over. The name of the cat is coming.
I had Clyde.
Clyde?
Yeah.
As in Bonnie and Clyde?
As in Bonnie and Clyde.
No, Clyde. Who called a cat Clyde?
We had 6 male cats, all of which were named Clyde.
How can you tell the difference? One Clyde from another?
Well, they were different colors.
Orange Clyde, black Clyde, white Clyde.
And Tabby.
I see.
Yeah. It worked out pretty well. Anyways, a ways back, you had a story about a certain type of abortion that was somewhat controversial.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you ever found out what the AMA had to say about it.
No, I don't think they ever said a word about it.
What do you think they would have said?
I wouldn't endeavor to speak for them or even guess what they would say, sir. I would have no idea.
Yeah, I suppose.
All right, thank you very much for the call. I'll tell you this about my cat. It's pretty strange. This is a true wild cat, folks. And I mean really wild. Let me tell you about Comet. Comet came home from the vet today, all groggy-eyed Comet. And Comet had been sedated after having claw surgery in the front, and he had his male parts modified. So it was a little bit of a pretty good cat drug of some kind. So Comet was drugged to the gills when he came home. We put him in a little bed in our bedroom. I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. When this cat, bearing in mind now that its claws are sore, they do it wonderfully now, though. And they've got a kind of a glue and dissolving stitches they put on there, so it's really a wonderful way they do it. And of course, the other surgery. So this cat was out of, just totally out of it. And it woke up, its eyes open. I mean, we're sitting in there watching it. Its eyes opened. And I'm telling you, I swear to you, this is the truth. This cat jumped up in the air vertically. We're talking about from dead sleep now. Jumped up in the air vertically 5 1/2 feet. I would not have said that a cat in the peak of its physical condition could ever make a jump like this. But this cat went absolutely vertical, 5 1/2 feet. We measured it. And then he started running around, meow, 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 this plaintive growl type thing. And so I finally got him, and I held him, and he put his little head down, trying to hide his eyes. He felt safer with his eyes covered. Still, he was crying. It is the first time, and then he started purring. It's the doggonest thing I've ever seen. Have you ever, this cat was consecutively purring and screaming with fright. I've never heard anything like it in my life. Now, to me, that said, the cat welcomes contact. It knew that I meant it no harm, or at least I presume so. That was the purr. It was kind of like, I've lived under houses, I've lived in the wild, I'm scared to death of human beings, so damn, this is kind of nice. And he's hiding now. He's behind our washing machine and feeling, I suppose, safe, and will come out when he darn well feels like it. So that is the story to the moment of Comet. But it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. I'm telling you, this cat, the eyes went blink, blink, open, 5 1/2 feet straight up into the air. This is a serious feral cat, and we have got a real job on our hands to tame this one. So we'll see. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, welcome. Greetings from Kansas City.
Yes, sir. KCMO.
Yes, sir. What if, Art?
Yes, sir.
The size of the Earth were growing?
What if it were growing?
Let me explain how it can happen.
Right.
Einstein in his E equals mc squared.
Right.
In effect, you can take mass and change it into energy, or you can take energy and change it into mass.
Sure.
That's what it means.
Sure.
The sun burns off its mass in the form of energy, heat primarily. The earth receives it, and the plants, trees are a good example, absorb the sun's energy, and the total mass or weight of the tree will be greater than the earthly nutrients and water and air that's been put into it. So a tree has some mass from the sun, in effect.
Yeah, that's good. You're really right. In other words, there is an inversion of energy to mass going on consistently on Earth.
Yes.
And so your theory is that the Earth is therefore actually growing in mass.
That's correct. As the sun shrinks.
Yes.
And just a little perspective, if, for instance, it were growing at the rate of 1 foot in 1,000 years, which is reasonable, I would think, then that means since its inception 5 billion years ago, the Earth's diameter has gone from 6 to 8,000 miles.
Yes.
I wonder what Scallion would think about how that might affect this earthquake.
I'm sure you'd have a lot to say. My question to you would be, having thought this aspect of it out as you have, and it's a good theory, is there anything that would suggest the Earth losing mass by any means?
Yes. When you burn something, you're converting mass back into energy, heat. So you burn a log in the fireplace, you're taking all that mass, or a little bit of mass, log mass.
Well, let's talk larger scale. When you burn down significant portions of the rainforest,
Yes,
you're converting quite a bit of mass.
that's correct.
So the two either might balance out, or on balance, we might even be shrinking.
Well, I doubt that, because don't forget that most of the vegetation on Earth is in the ocean. It's a little hard to burn that off.
That is true, actually. Well, both of them very good what ifs, sir, and I thank you for the call. That is a well thought out call. It is certainly true. You can convert energy to mass, or mass to energy, or in a gaseous form, or whatever. So what if we're getting bigger? So what if we are? Would that have an effect, a geologic effect? I'm sure that it would. Certainly we know the Ring of Fire is more alive than I've ever seen it in my life. I've never seen anything like the number of volcanoes and earthquakes and things that are going on. At any rate, we'll be right back. And the caller was correct. The news today is not good. It's all about murder, rape, convictions for murder, fights about the death penalty, and crime. As we continue to literally eat ourselves up alive as a society, it was depressing even having to read it all to you. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi. Hello there. Going once, going twice. That's all you get. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, Art Bell. Hey, Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Hi, this is Daryl in Seattle.
Hi, Daryl.
And the reason I'm calling, I've been following this quickening thing for a long time, and I've been writing about this same kind of thing, and I'm glad that you finally have given me a really good name to call it. I think that all this crime that we see,
Yes,
and all of the injustice, and I think the crime is part of the quickening. I mean, it is a result of the quickening.
well, here's what I want to say. We have always had crime. Since man has been walking about on Earth after tossed out of Eden, we've had crime of varying kinds. But today's crime is palpably different. In other words, and I love this example. Maybe I wouldn't say love. It's a good analogy. There was a day when robbers would walk into a convenience store, hold a gun on a guy, take what's in the cash register, and get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Today, they walk in, take what's in the cash register, and shoot the guy who's got his hands up, and leave.
That's it. And I wonder why they do it. I just, I think that it's part of the quickening, the reason we're having like the ring of fires going crazy and volcanoes going off and stuff.
Mother Earth.
That's because, yes, Mother Earth is giving us a message. That's why the sea lions are eating all the salmon up here in Dallas, because they're saying, hey, look, you guys are next. And, my what if that I would like to bring to the table is, what if we realize that to survive, we must find ecologically stable sources of raw materials and eliminate all the pollution and waste. And you know what? The answer's been there all along. You know what what it is?
What?
Hemp. It's a friend to man and the ecology. We could use it for ecology. And, anything that our basic raw materials used for home and industry today, like plastic, oil.
No, you're absolutely correct.
All that things could be made from hemp, and we could put the farmers back to work, and we could get a lot of people out of prison and put them back as productive members of society.
It is true.
I'm really working hard on it.
Sir, the Wall Street Journal estimated that hemp would generate $500 billion in the economy every year.
And 400,000 people die from smoking cigarettes every year, and no one dies from smoking marijuana.
Well,
and you can't grow your own tobacco. You can grow your own marijuana.
That's a little misleading.
Well, there's actually people killed by police or killed by people.
No. The tars and the damaging substances in marijuana are actually no, it isn't.
I talked to the top pharmacologist the other day at the University of Washington, head of the pain clinic.
Yes.
And he said that that's a bunch of baloney. Anything that we do about marijuana before 1989 is out the window.
All right. I absolutely disagree with you. And the tars and the things that would damage your lungs, compared cigarette to joint, make marijuana more damaging. Now, arguably, people smoke fewer joints than they do cigarettes, or else the whole society would be stoned all the time. But don't mislead yourself. It may well be that hemp has a lot of good commercial uses, but that you should even decriminalize the smoking of marijuana. But do not dilute yourself into thinking it's nature's wonder drug. It isn't. Everything of that sort you do has an effect. We'll be back to the news more over time on the Premier Radio Network. The Hideout for consultation coast to coast in April, March 20th, 1996. Recording across this great globe of ours, I'm going to say that, great globe. And it is a great globe. I'm Art Bell. And I'm going to kind of run over what we're talking about very quickly at the moment, for those of you who are joining us at this hour. Art, it's bad enough that I lose sleep because of your show, but now you've got my 14-year-old son hooked. Would you please tell Cameron to go to sleep? Love your show, Terry, listening to KBI in Seattle. Cameron, turn on that radio and go to bed now. I said turn it off, Cameron. Now, the news is not that good to listen to anyway, Cameron. The Menendez brothers have been convicted second trial, different result, first degree murder, special circumstances. They may be going away. All the way away. Or at the very least away for life. No abuse excuse this time, and I wonder if that's the end of the abuse excuse in America. It could be. In New Jersey, a horrible case. Just absolutely horrible. A school teacher who actually was best known, I guess, for being the founder of a program called Random Acts of Kindness, was killed by a random act of violence. Carjacker, 17-year-old, choked her to death. After she begged him not to, she managed to turn on the tape recorder. So they've got the whole thing, and they've also got the 17-year-old, by the way, who they would like to try as an adult. But just disposed of, I guess, so that there would be no witnesses to his taking of her car. In New York, a big death penalty debate going on. attacking the governor there now in favor of the death penalty, threatening to remove a district attorney, elected DA, who looks like he's going to refuse to ask for the death penalty in the killing of a police officer, a brutal murder, I might add, by 3 armed robbers last week. So they've got a big brouhaha going on in New York over the death penalty as the march of crime continues. And it's all pretty bad news, you know, on that front. I mean, this crime thing is way, way, way out of control. By the way, folks, I've got Vidian on again tonight. I've had it on the last few days. I've been doing a lot of intensive computer work here, and so I haven't had it on. But I've got Vidian on once again tonight. So if you're a Vidian user, you should be able to get through at some point. Patrons, and by the way, we're going to have Vidian for sale, we believe, the first of next week. Assuming that everything goes well, we're at the final stages. We've got all the boards in and the software, and the final version is being wrapped up in pink ribbon, and we're going to have it next week. Ross Perot now says he is going to run. The fighting in Chechnya is again worsening. And I get story after story of brutal murder, husbands stomping wives to death from Wisconsin. I've got facts here. Another husband who cut her up into small pieces. A guy who shot his wife 5 times. And so this morning, I'm doing something that I've not ever done before. I'm asking you, and I want to provide a lighter topic too, because this is heavy stuff. We are going to make a quickening list, things going on in society and things we are doing that you think contribute to the quickening. And the first one I got, of course, is senseless crime. And there has been a change. There was a day in America where if you were going to rob somebody, you robbed them. You backed out of the door with your gun, but you didn't shoot them unless you had to. Today, they go in and rob, take everything from the till. The guy's holding his hands in the air, and they shoot him for no reason, no discernible reason. They take life senselessly, or like the New Jersey school teacher and the 17-year-old. He listened to her beg and choked her to death. And on and on and on. So that's one item. And we're going to construct a list of things that you think are contributing to what I call the quickening. Then we're also going to do something perhaps a little lighter. Toward the end of the program last night, we got a lot of what ifs. I love them. So if you've got a good scenario, a good what if for us, tonight is your night. And I would imagine these 2 topics will take us well into tomorrow as well. By the way, here's the facts I meant to read. On one of your programs last week, the subject was decreasing sperm counts and China versus Taiwan. You asked several callers, all hail, the following. If they were president and China attacked Taiwan, would they push the button? Your question required only a yes or no. All these callers stammered and stalled and gave ifs and ands. Declining sperm count? These guys were contributing to the problem. Now, ask a woman what she'd do in that case. Well, it cost me $249.95 for the class. Yes, I called C. Crane Company that morning and bought a $400 typewriter from elsewhere just to get my answer. My answer is yes. I'd keep my finger on the button until they turned tail and went home. Is that harsh? Yes. Is my answer a little frightening? Yes. Dangerous? Yes. Let me take care of the button, and the guys can go to work on their sperm count. Pretty rough. I'll tell you, over the years I found that women, as a general rule, have a greater capacity for cruelty than men. And I'm not saying you're cruel. I'm not saying that is this case. This is a foreign policy kind of thing that she's talking about here. But when we run into various topics about what would be done to this person or that person for their evil deeds, the women generally have come up with the more constructive, torturous tales of retribution than have the men. They're very good at it. And she signs it GM. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hello, Art. This is John, Southern Ohio.
Yes, sir. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
Fine.
I wanted to talk about, I have a suggestion for your cat, Comet.
Yes.
The one who you said was hiding out behind the washer. What you need to do is you need to get a can of tuna and open it up and place it in front of the refrigerator. And you have other cats, right?
Oh, he's eating.
Yeah.
Well, he's eating. Yeah, we used to inside. He's eating. He's coming out, in the dark of night and eating his little portion.
Then he won't come out when you try to feed him in the day.
No, but the little guy really needs a little peace and quiet. He's just been modified in more ways than one. It's probably just as well that he have a quiet area to consider that this is not an evil place and he can venture forth. So for now, I'm going to leave him alone.
Yeah, well, the reason why I bring it up because I've had quite a bit of success with cats as far as getting them to come out, because I've always found that a regular cat is hard to do his stomach.
It is absolutely correct, yes. But for now, we're going to let him hide out.
All right, well, I'll give you that little bit of advice.
I appreciate it, thank you. The interesting thing about him, and I'll only repeat this portion, we brought him home, he was drugged to the gills. He was in he was in cat drugdom. And we watched him and, kind of petted him. He didn't mind, of course, because he was out of it. And then his little eyes blinked twice. His eyes opened, and this cat jumped clear 5.5 feet into the air. Vertically. Absolutely vertically. 5.5 feet into the air. It has been, to say the least, a very interesting day. This is a wild feral cat who has never been around human beings. And I held him for quite a while, and he lay in my arm, crying and purring at the same time, screeching in terror, and yet happy that he was finally close to another. It must have been a very lonely life. So anyway, Comet is here, residing right now behind the washer, and happy about it. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi there, how are you doing?
Hi.
I'm calling from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Oh, yes, sir.
I just got to bring something to your attention. I can't call on East of the Rockies anymore. But I'll be able in my college area.
Well, then you'll be able to go on West of the Rockies.
Even though I'm East of the Rockies?
Oh, yes.
Is that right?
Yeah, they're splitting it off. They're splitting it off in a slightly different place. So if you cannot get through
the Rockies,
on one line, use the other.
Even though I'm East of the Rockies?
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. Take care. Hopefully we've got most areas taken care of. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hi.
Yeah, all right, how you doing?
Okay.
It's Bob from Columbia, South Carolina.
Hi, Bob.
Yeah, I got a comment and then a question for you on the situation up in New Jersey. I've been watching the news all day, and they seem to be portraying this unfortunate woman as a hero or something of the sort. And although I had sympathy for her, I don't think she's an admirable figure. She's a sheep in a world of wolves. If she reached for her tape recorder, what if that had been a cocked and locked 45 automatic instead?
Well, then maybe she could have saved her own life.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen it before. There's an essay that came out about 2 or 3 years ago called "The Nation of Cowards." And it's the most eloquent thing I've read since Thomas Paine or Jefferson. The guy postulates that the reason society is degenerated to the point it has now.
How can you possibly suggest that her not having a gun blow the 17-year-old away would be an act of cowardice?
because of one of the fundamental human impetus and human rights that is self-defense.
Yes, but people also have a right not to carry a gun if they don't want to.
Well, they do so at their own risk. There are bad people in the world.
But sir, if it has come to the point in our world where you've got to wear a gun because the crime level or the random acts of violence and death and murder and mayhem have gone so far that the only way to continue to live is to carry a gun and kill before you're killed. I'm not suggesting we have got human rights to do that, but if it has come to the point where everybody has got to do that, I got news for you. This is not such a hot place to be anymore.
Well, no, it isn't at the present, but once you must admit that there are a hell of a lot more good people in the world than are bad. If we get to the point where we see these social predators as nothing more than another species of game animal.
Yeah, but the problem is that the number of bad people, or the percentage of bad people, really bad people, is growing.
Of course, and it doesn't lack the will to do anything about it.
And it doesn't take that many.
Okay, I got one other question for you. I want to ask you real quick. You said that you voted for Ross Perot in the last election.
That's correct.
Did you know before you did that of his paranoid delusional ramblings about pajama-clad VC running through his front yard, and that George Bush sent agents provocateurs to disrupt his daughter's wedding? I mean, you want this guy's finger on the button? I mean, even that case.
All right, thank you very much for the call. Yeah, there have been a few things Ross Perot has said that have disturbed me. Not all of what you hear, though, is necessarily as bad as you think it is. Just the way I'm sure a lot of you would agree that Pat Buchanan had many things said about him that were unfair and simply untrue. They went after Buchanan the way they went after Goldwater. They tainted him with the word extreme. They've done the same to Ross Perot. Some of it may be justified, but my feeling would be that a very great deal of it was not. And I'm sure the Bush camp did a few things here and there. We certainly know the Dole camp did. Hey, folks, that's politics, down and dirty. That's the way it is. It's not going to change. Dirty tricks have always been a part of politics, and it would not surprise me but that a few were played on Ross. Nevertheless, he says he's about to do it again. All right, Western Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Yeah, Art Gal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've been listening to you exactly here this week. It's great to have you on there. I really want to thank you for having a nationwide audience like this where everybody gets a point across.
Well, if we can manage this, the best minds at AT&T, they gave us a call yesterday, and they said they're putting their heavy hitters, the biggest execs, the biggest software people, the biggest engineers to work on trying to create the first truly international 800 line for us.
Well, that's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, it is awesome. And
it's totally awesome.
And when and if they get it, then international calls will be coming in one after another, and we'll be able to get feedback from all over the world.
Well, I have a question for you, Art.
Sure.
Do you know if that volcano is still active out there outside Oregon?
They sent a ship out, I know, and they indicated there was a lot of activity going on, and they were measuring mineral water flowing up at a heightened temperature rate, indicating it was very active. Now, whether it still is or not, I don't know. I believe the survey ship has come back.
Well, I got a what if for you.
All right.
What if during our lifespan, it actually becomes a landmass? And me and some friends are talking about get our own little national flag and going out there and floating up. Become our own little nation because we claimed it.
I think that'd be cool. I've always wanted my own country myself.
I mean, isn't that the way it was back there in the old days?
Oh, yes.
You go down island and you claimed it and it's yours. You might have to fight for it, but...
Well, you might. And I guess you could still do that. I mean, there are a lot of unoccupied islands. They're generally claimed as possessions of somebody or another, but, if you got the guts, you can go out there and plant a flag and see who comes with guns.
Well, I thought that'd be a good way to you have a good night.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's say you did that.
Okay.
What kind of society would you create?
Oh boy. I definitely free society. I think the U.S. is the best nation on earth because they give us the options to succeed in anything we want to succeed in. But
so then how are you going to better that?
Well, what was government?
All right, thank you. That's an interesting question, isn't it? Now, I suppose you could go to an island held by, some South American country, and declare and pick your own flag and your little national symbol, and take a boat in and plant your flag, and suggest that you are a new democracy. Now, once you made a statement like that, the United States, it seems to me, would be compelled to protect you. Because we go around taking care of claimed democracies, even many that really aren't. So that'd be your best bet. Go down and claim the island, plant your flag, begin your little society, and claim you are a democracy. You might even get foreign aid. They made a movie about that. A little something or another that roared. Remember? West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Well, make it ready, all right?
All right. Always get the
Hi,
right.
this is Stan from Reno.
Yes, sir.
I got a one in for you.
All right.
What if Art Bell was a 99-degree Mason told all his secrets on the air?
Well, then he'd be dead.
As simple as that, huh?
Of course. Everybody above the 78th degree knows that.
Well, I thought that once you reach the higher degrees that you could have allies to call on from the other side that would protect you.
Sir, no matter how big you are, there's always someone bigger.
Well, that's probably true, but, the old United We Stand thing.
Everybody's got a boss.
I suppose that.
Even 99th degree Masons.
Oh, my goodness. Would it be okay to refer you from now on as the 99?
Sure.
Okay, great.
Or Agent 99, if you wish.
That's great.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the call. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Yes, I'd like to know what if all of the people who were for abortion
Have been aborted?
Yes.
Well, then there wouldn't be any lobby out there for abortion, would there?
No, there certainly wouldn't.
No. So there you are.
Thank you.
Answered your own question. I love it when people do that. Wes, make that the wild card line. You're on the air.
Charlie, live on California.
Hello there.
Well, again, the Republicans have watered down this anti-terrorist bill, and I think it shows you once more how they are, how the thumb of the gun nuts are pressing sharply against the top of these people's heads. I think it's very, very unfortunate.
You must be referring to the water and the tide of individual freedom versus allowing lots of government intrusion into private life.
Oh, that's a bunch of garbage.
Listen to me now. Listen. I've got a break. If you want to hold, you can hold.
Okay.
Okay. Charlie's on hold. I wonder if I'll remember to go back to that line. We'll be right back. I've got a Charlie one here. I'll enjoy this. Just in case Charles is still here, let's check and see. Are you there? Yeah. All right. Somebody's sending this from Springfield, Illinois, Charlie, and they want to know What if Charlie liberal was Charlie conservative? In other words, you think he could be equally annoying on our side as on the wrong side?
Well, let me tell you something. I think there is a Charlie conservative. His name is Rush Limbaugh, and yes, he is extremely annoying and he makes me sick.
You consider yourself the anti-Rush?
I think so. I think in a way that's absolutely correct. I think unfortunately, and here's how I'm different from most liberals. I think liberals, unfortunately, are the Michael Dukakis, George McGovern type who lay back and get pounded in the face by Republicans and then say, "Oh, isn't that sweet?" Now, Republicans only understand one thing. They only understand being nasty and mean, and that's what Bill Clinton.
I thought you were going to say political power only grows from the barrel of a gun.
Well, in a way, they only understand meanness. Bill Clinton's the first person on the left in about 30 years to understand that concept, and it's too bad that a lot of liberals don't understand that. That you have to answer meanness with meanness. We say on these gun wackos out there who want to water this anti-terrorist thing down. It just goes to show you the Republicans are being pushed around and who they bow down to just to feed them. But again, how the hell can a person be, in one hand you have to register your car, and they're saying that bombs don't have to be registered? What kind of garbage is that? I think it shows you how extremist these people actually are.
How do you register a bomb?
Well, the Clinton administration was thinking of putting a specific chemical, different chemicals in bombs that would indicate where they came from, where they exploded, which I have to agree with.
Oh, fine, but I mean, how do you actually register a bomb? I mean, do you carry this big bomb down to the police station and say, "Hi there, I'm here to register my bomb"? I don't recommend it.
No, but when they can find out where the bomb was bought at and who bought it, and now all you have to do is find out who look at the record.
Charlie,
here's the thing.
Down to your local bomb store. Come on.
Here's the thing. Republicans, and I'm working in the intelligence field, and I understand that in 10, 15 years from now, you're not going to be talking about fertilizer. You're going to be talking about atomic bombs, small enough to put in a briefcase.
Right. Well, we'll put in this Clinton registration program. Thank you very much. We'll take care of that. There you go again. I mean, hi, I'd like to register this bomb. Yes, it's a small nuke, about a kiloton. About a kiloton. I'd like to register it. Then you get a little card you carry around in your wallet. A registered atomic bomb. That'd be good. Brilliant. Art, here in Houston, the local CBS station, Channel 2, made a comment about an ex-NASA scientist, about ex-NASA scientists, that were going to talk to the media. They also promised tomorrow at the 10 o'clock news. So, I'm getting a lot of faxes. Look, the latest on Richard Hoagland is the news conference will occur. It will be at 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific time. Now, the news conference may or may not, and we have conflicting information on this, be carried by C-SPAN. They may carry something about Roosevelt, not carry it at all. Or they may have made a last-minute decision to carry the news conference, or they may take it and delay it. We're not sure. CNN will be there. The Discovery Channel is going to be there. There are going to be some independents there. If you want to be there, you can be there live, because it's going to be carried on the IRC chat channel, which is also going to be, you can ask questions. So, all the information about Richard Hoagland, all the information about how to get in on the live coverage on the internet tomorrow is on my webpage right now. Okay, it's on my webpage right now. So if you want to know how to monitor that in the morning, have your computer call my webpage and take a look. Everything you need to know is up there. My webpage is www.artbell.com. Let me give that to you one more time. It's up there right now, www.artbell.com. Now, My international calling line. Somebody wrote me a fax here. To Art Bell, come on. You know the country code for USA, Canada. You traveled outside the country and must have made phone calls. Go, of course. The country code for the USA and Canada, 1. Yes, just 1. Call the number, say 702-727-8499. The person in a non-US country dials access code 1-702-727-8499. Yes. In most countries, the access code is 00. In the US, the access code is 011. Calling the USA from other countries, calling as above, always incurs a charge. 800 numbers are generally not accepted. All countries reject 800 as a US area code. Your agreement with AT&T involves using the USA direct code. So a caller has to dial USA direct code, then 1-800 blah blah. But dialing the USA direct code in most countries I've tried connects you to an operator in the USA. Then you tell him or her the number you want. If you want an 800 number, he or she just laughs at you and says it cannot be done. Even if he or she connects you, they may want a credit card number to charge the call to them. So you will not be getting any foreign calls until all the operators recognize your 800 number. Well, let me tell you, again, signed a self-appointed telecom expert, we've got the biggest minds. We've had a lot of communication from AT&T. And AT&T says that they are going to make a monumental effort to actually establish the first real international 800 line in the world. And they're working on that for us right now in various parts of the U.S. Supervisors and managers at the highest level, programmers and engineers, beginning yesterday, went to work on it big time. They're trying to do it. And they're saying that if we can, you will be the first to have this service, the first in the whole country. So I'm flattered. They may not get it done, but they are people who know what they are doing. And so if it can be done, they're going to do it. Now, those of you outside the country might try various means of getting through. I will give our international number, but as far as I know, it is not yet activated. There are certain blocks that they're trying to figure out how to remove. It involves a lot of software work and engineering. And they're doing it. But I'll give the number out just in case. It's 1-800-893-0903. If you're anywhere outside the U.S., Canada, or Mexico, try various methods. Again, the number 1-800-893-0903. It is worth a try. Then we've got a bunch of what ifs here. Art, what if it could be proven that God is a woman? Signed, Shannara. Shanara. Now there's an exotic name for you, Shannara. Very nice. What if it can be proven that God is a woman? Well, there would be a lot of useless stained glass for starters. A lot of rethinking about a lot of things. So I don't know, could God be a woman? Sure. Could be. Could be. A lot of attributes that people would associate with femininity are associated with God. Right? Compassion. Just a lot of things. So, whatever. On the other hand, God is probably not either sex. And somehow you don't think of God as concerned with or bounded by sex one way or the other. Period. Somehow we behave, no doubt, down here. Eastern Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Art. My name's Lauren. I'm here in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Hi, how you doing, Lauren?
Really good. It's really good to be able to talk to you. I've been listening to you for a while, and it's a really great show. It's almost amazing to get through.
I know.
I've been checking out the computer pages on you and the computer line here, and I think it's a really great show, and it's a way to keep ahead of things.
The web page is clearly one of the best web pages up on the whole internet.
Yeah, after traveling around, I just learned how to use it about a month or so back, and it's been different.
Yes.
I'm not the most technologically advanced person on earth.
Well, it's finally getting to the point where you don't have to be.
Yeah. I had a sort of a what if to give you.
All right.
I've been taking a astronomy course here, and one of the things the teacher was saying was sort of a gut-wrenching thing to think about. Instead of Hale Bob coming by and taking a piece out of us, what if a star nearby went supernova, like within 50 to 25 parsecs?
Well, we'd be toast.
Yeah.
Star goes supernova. I wonder how long we would have, how much warning, if that, really, we wouldn't have any, would we?
No, they said that usually they don't really become aware of them until they actually go into the explosion itself.
Well, in other words, the explosion itself, we would certainly see, but it would arrive long after the fact.
Yep. And it's interesting because I know that every about 20 or 30 years we get solar activity from the sun that really disrupts our telecommunications and all.
That's correct.
Imagine that from an entire star exploding.
Well, I'm not enough of a scientist to tell you what effect it would have. It would certainly bombard the Earth with a great deal of radiation, probably disrupt communications. Yeah. All right, that's a good one. Thank you.
Well, thank you, man. Have a nice evening.
Take care. Here is from Warren. Art, what if we legalize recreational drugs? What if Perot were to be elected president? What if we go to war with China over Taiwan? This secret fax machine beats the hell out of the telephone barrier. Dear Art, come on, please. The quickening is not related to Mother Earth getting back at us. This would assume that the crusty, waterlogged rock of a planet were an intelligent being that thinks and is using free will to retaliate. I don't believe in responsible living and paying attention to the environment. I do believe in that, but let's not get carried away. Like many of the extreme animal rights and environmental activists, many of them hold animal rights, trees, and now the earth, the planet, in higher esteem than humans, who are the caretakers. It is mankind that God has given the responsibility to manage our natural resources. We are not slaves to them. Well, in a sense, I agree with you. I do not look quite at the earth the way the American native does, as a living, breathing entity. However, I think that it is a closed ecological system. There is no argument about that. It is. It simply is. And I do believe that there's a distinct possibility that when we create an imbalance, that the Earth, not through an intelligent decision, but just through a natural process, seeks to correct that imbalance. So we don't have to imagine that Mother Earth has a living, breathing will and is retaliating in some way for all of this. No. I rather think, and I'll say it again, that Mother Earth is reacting in a natural way. It is a natural process, and what has been disturbed is being straightened out. That doesn't indicate a conscious, willful, intelligent decision on the part of the rock. It simply indicates a reaction. To every action, there is a reaction. That's what I think, I believe. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi. Hello there.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Hello?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
That's how it works. You get on the air. You call, you get on the air.
I know. Well, I was listening to radio and I couldn't tell it was on the air yet.
Okay, well, turn that off. And
Yeah, I got it off.
Okay.
Well, I was just wondering, what if every time we kill somebody, that they go to a place of unknowledge and come back to the earth and hang out with the people that killed them. Kind of like a hunting thing. And so by killing people and even in wars and everything, we just make more trouble for ourselves than we know.
Well, all right. Thank you. If every killing engendered a haunting, well, we don't know that it does not. And people have long toyed with the concept of karma. You do something bad, and maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually it comes back and bites you in the butt. So it may be that that's not such a wild theory. Who knows? I generally agree with that, and I generally kind of believe in karma. Things come back to you. Good things or bad things. They eventually come back to you. Anyway, we're going to pause here, and we'll be right back. What ifs? The quickening list, we're going to build it over the next couple of days. Dear Art, here are a couple of what ifs for you. What if Einstein was wrong about the energy of the theory of general relativity? Instead of things appearing smaller as they travel away from you, they actually do get smaller. What if our perception of size or mass is skewed by distance, so much so that 90% of the universe appears to be missing? What if death is simply a disease that everyone has? What happens when they find the death gene? What if we are traveling in time in the opposite direction of our creator? Wouldn't that explain a lot? Tim in St. Paul, Minnesota. Tim, he says, yes, sorry I disclosed your nerdiness at 18, but you demonstrated it yourself when you played some of your old air checks. Well, Tim, I suppose you were a master of Chinese ancient knowledge at 18, huh? When I was 18, Tim, give me a break. You know, I was just barely into the world of radio and not into the world of commercial radio at all, and I was just having fun. I was not a nerd. Tim. Well, yes, I was. Westwood Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, Adele, my what?
You're on.
Oh, great. Well, anyway, happy spring.
Thank you. It is here, isn't it? Equinox has come and gone, and it was a beautiful day. You're in the desert. Spring has sprung, and I'd like to say everything's hunky-dory, but it is not.
Well, I came across an unusual straw poll on the candidate
Yes.
in my journal of April of 95. Would you like to hear what 32 people had to say on a local call-in show that morning?
Well, I want to know what each and every one of the 32 said, but give me an idea.
Well, at the end of whatever comment, it was open radio.
Right.
They asked these people who would they vote for president.
Yes.
And so we're a town of about 150,000, and this is how the straw poll of April 95 came out. Buchanan 13, Graham 3, Lamar Alexander 1, Vester 0, Dole 1, Powell 11, Wilson 1, Hatfield, now maybe you know what I'm calling from, and 1, none of the above.
Well, shows you how truly wrong they were.
Well, it couldn't be possible that by going off the air with their open phones of 3 hours every morning, that in a short period of time people stopped talking to one another and they might have influenced the Buchanan vote?
Well, anything could be, like objects actually getting smaller as they leave you, but I don't think it any more likely.
Well, I happen to think that Pat Buchanan has the right ideas, especially about NASA, which I think the reason why everybody hates him so is not because he isn't a likable guy or the abortion issue. I think that the world is coming down on him over the free trade.
All right, thank you very much for the call. Well, that's part of it. I think he missed the boat on free trade, frankly, and to some degree on the trade agreements, and several other areas. I think these were real, honest disagreements, and the voters of America still, unless you want to believe in massive vote fraud, which some people have taken to believing in desperation because they cannot understand the vote. Then you've got to understand that the American people took a second look at Pat Buchanan and said he's a nice guy and everything, but no, thank you. We don't want that much change. We'll be right back. Good morning, everybody. Well, we've been getting audience. People are enjoying this so much. I'm getting all this on video. It's a funny little space in TV's one. Will kill you. We're all dying. Because what if tobacco has some rejuvenating power? It does. It rejuvenates you until the legs mentioned. They said moving to DC is going to be a bureaucrat. Well, then be fine. Forever. You're going to another dimension too. And then somebody sent this one back to me. I haven't seen it in a while. I wanted to have it back. It is the psychiatric entry service. In other words, when you call up this psychiatric service, like everywhere else nowadays, you get a machine that gives you different options. This machine will give you the following options. If you are obsessive compulsive, please press 1 repeatedly. If you're codependent, please ask someone to press 2. If you have multiple personalities, please press 3, 4, 5, and 6. If you are paranoid delusional, we know who you are and what you want, so just stay on the line so we can trace the call. If you're schizophrenic, listen carefully, and a little voice will tell you which number to press. If you're manic depressive, it doesn't matter which number you press, no one will answer. That's absolutely great. That was said to me about a month ago, and it's made the rounds ever since. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello. Here is Phil Boy in New York. Son of a boy. Yeah. I can't use the first name color lighting. I was really hungry. Oh, well, that's what you, of course, once you call, that's it. Anyway, I've got about 4 things to talk about. That'll be really, really quick. A number 1 is the second half of your cat story was just touching and brought a tear in my eye and all that and the purring cat and such. Number 2, gosh, I've got a list, it's horrible. The energy captured in leaves from the sun is held in a bond between molecules. So there's no actual conversion of the there goes that theory.
Yep. And nicotine, as opposed to marijuana, nicotine, or that is tobacco, nicotine shuts off the cilia, which is the
God, I'm nervous. Anyway.
So, right, that's right. And so you're going to say marijuana opens it, right?
Well, no. There's really a tiny head that coat your esophagus
Right.
and throat, and they sort of push out the yuck stuff.
I see.
Marijuana doesn't have that in it, so you still have the ability to clean your lungs. That's good.
But still, as I said earlier, I think it's been shown that cigarette for cigarette, or joint for joint, marijuana has more tars and potentially glucose stuff in it for you than does tobacco.
Most definitely, especially since it's been bred from gutter weed to, well, a kind. Anyway, another thing, what Charlie was talking about, I mean, you got on this, I'm sure, about bomb tracing and such. Diesel fertilizer, Charlie didn't know what he was talking about. I'm sure you being on the internet, you found out that there's a lot of bomb recipes out there.
Oh, yes.
And you can make explosives out of everything.
Yeah, I know. That's the whole concept was silly, going and laying your bomb on the police officer's desk and getting a registration number for it.
Exactly. And even if you're trying to say you're trying to make acetone peroxide, I'm not going to go through all this little videos, but you can make almost any chemical.
I know, sir. I've done it many times. Nearly blown myself to smithereens studying various things. My youth. Charlie was complaining that the bomb registration idea got dropped. You're really going to take in like about 10, 15 sticks of dynamite and lay it on the police, counter there. I'd like to register my bomb. To get a little bomb card you can carry around. Be a registered bomb. Maybe you could get a concealed bomb permit. First time caller line, you're on the air. Cheerio.
Hi, Art.
Hello.
I'm a first-time caller, but I've got a thing about the quickening for you.
All right.
And then a wet end.
All right.
Okay, the quickening, this deals with time, and it deals with the human being's experience of time. As we become conscious, our consciousness exists in a frame of time that is conditioned by our communication with other human beings. In other words, as we communicate with other human beings, we condition ourselves to think in the same time frame. Therefore, we think on a conscious level, a surface conscious level, at the same speed that we speak. Now, when we dream, we go into a faster consciousness.
All right, now what you're suggesting, put simply, is that we create time.
Well, no, not really.
Yeah, that time is our invention, that we fix ourselves in time by the conversations we have and such. That is where you're headed, right?
Well, no, but you're kind of on the right track. Our surface consciousness, we create our surface consciousness in time.
Yeah.
And then as we go into our subconscious mind, it lives on a lot higher level, and we're able to think a lot faster. Therefore, we can dream an hour dream or a day dream in a few seconds or in a few minutes.
Now, there you can't be sure, because it may be a lower state, not a higher state.
Well, it's faster one way or the other, because at least in our frame of time, because they've done studies of dreams where people have had experiences of a large amount of time.
All right, well, I've got the idea.
Okay, then beyond that, you have the spiritual consciousness, which is even way faster than that.
Okay.
At this level, it could be 1,000 times or 10,000 times or 100,000 times the speed that we can think at this level. We think when we're become spiritual. That's why when people have death experiences, near-death experiences, they see their entire life pass before their eyes. This is the quickening. It's the realization of the speed of your entire life passing before your eyes. Now, in the religious context, the rebirth, the death and the rebirth through all the different religious.
All right, sir, we've got to hold it there. I think such an event would be cruel indeed. Having written a book, which made me go and revisit much of my life anyway, was cruel enough. To take me through it again would be totally unfair, but I suppose it will occur. Maybe they'll have my book up there, Wouldn't that be something if I got up to the pearly gates and they sat me down and there sitting on the desk was a copy of my book? And boy. By the way, you can still get my book, folks. It's called The Art of Talk. And I'm going to even have to dig to get the number. I haven't even mentioned it in a few days since the signing. Boy, that book signing in Portland, that was unbelievable. Thousands and thousands of people. Well, the book is and will continue to be available. If I can find the number here. Oh, here's High Flight. Somebody sent me a High Flight. Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter's solar wings. Sunward I've climbed, enjoying the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds, and done 100 things you have not dreamed of, wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless falls of air. Up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace. Where never lark or even eagle flew, and while with silent lifting mind I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand and touched the face of God. Isn't that great? That's High Flight. If you want a copy of my book, I can take off this page about the book signing. It's done. You can still get a copy of my book in hardback, which is the only way you're ever going to be able to get it. Or the audio version is out, as they say. And I think you'll really enjoy it. It's had very good reviews. The number to call is 1-800-864-7991. Now, here's the only promise I will make. I'm not going to do another book signing. That was my only one. However, should I meet you a chance encounter somewhere, I would, of course, sign your book for you. I would never refuse that. So if you want to get a copy of the book, the number to call is 1-800-864-7991. It's 1-800-864-7991. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello. Hello there.
Yes, Art.
Yes, sir.
Yes, first time listener, Valley, Alaska.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you, sir. Hey, I don't know if you've heard or not, if Mr. Begich, Dr. Begich has got a hold of you, but they plan on firing up Park this Friday night.
We are aware of that.
Aware of it.
Yes, sir, we are. And, of course, it would seem to be concurrent, once again, with the shuttle launch. Now, the shuttle launch has been put off 24 hours.
Right.
So, we'll see. We'll be watching.
Now, what if, here's a what if for you.
Sure.
They plan on using HARP to disrupt the lives of so many Chinese in that turmoil part of the world over there.
Well, the timing would be just right.
That's what I was thinking. Love your show, Art. When I get a chance, I'll listen to it in Fred's house and keep up the good work, and I'll be listening to you.
All right, take care, my friend. Thank you very much. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good evening, Art.
Yes, sir.
Rochester, New York, sir.
Welcome.
Okay. What if and the quickening?
All right.
First, the quickening. One name says it all.
President, Vice President Gore.
No, the popularity of Rush Limbaugh. And I would even have to say, Art, I don't mean this is a personal attack, sir, but I was kind of surprised and disappointed to hear that you voted for Ross Perot. I vote that as part of the quickening.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it was either that or George Bush.
I know what you mean. Okay, what if Howard Stern had been voted governor of New York? Would we be better off?
Well, as opposed to Governor Kentucky, I would say not. I would say Howard's better doing his show than he would be in the governor's mansion.
You don't like Baba Booey as lieutenant governor?
No. Robin as press secretary, maybe.
That's right. Art, have you read Miss America yet?
I know.
Will you read it?
It's somewhere on my list, but I can't disclose where.
All right. Have a nice day.
Yeah, you too. See you later. Pataki's in a big fight in New York, you know. He wants a death penalty for this alleged cop killer. And the DA there, an elected DA, is saying that he doesn't think it is a deterrent. He's anti-death penalty. And Pataki's saying, well, I'll remove you. Remember, this is an elected DA. DA is saying, fine, go ahead, try it. I'll sue you. That's where that one sits. First time caller live, you're on the air. Hello.
Hello, is this Art Bell?
It is.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. You should try calling your show sometime. It's impossible.
Where are you?
Oh man, this is Mike from Portland, Oregon.
Well, it's not impossible, Mike, because here you are.
Wow. Well, how old do I sound to you?
24.
I'm 15.
You're 15?
Yeah.
You know, there were a lot of people like you at the book signing in Portland, your age.
Oh,
and I kept asking, and as I'm going to ask you now, what are you doing listening to me at 2:23 in the morning? That's the kind of answer I got, too.
Well, I've got an excuse now because it's spring break. I can say as long as I want now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad to have you.
Wow, okay. Well, okay, let's see. Well, let's see. I want to say that I've learned more from your show in the 10 months I've been listening than 10 years of public education.
Wow. And now it's my turn to say wow.
Great. And also, to add to your list of the quickening,
yes.
jot down the Art Bell Show.
Yeah, I'm probably part of it.
Yeah.
That's true.
Spreading the word about it.
It's true. And that may accelerate the process.
Yeah.
You know, I hadn't thought about that. Probably part of it. You're right.
Great. Well, you'll be hearing from me later then.
All right, my friend. Thank you. The Art Bell Show. Yeah. Sure. But I'm not sure. You can either conclude that calling attention to these things either causes them to accelerate, or possibly knowledge of them causes a slowing. I don't know. I really don't know. What's your best guess? Do you think that calling attention to the quickening actually accelerates it, adds fuel, throws fuel on the fire? Or do you think knowledge of it is the only potential thing to slow it up? Maybe like a backfire. Now they said backfires, right? I'm not sure. I don't know the answer, but I admit it could be, and I have put it down. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hello,
Yes, sir, from Hawaii. Welcome to the program.
all right. Hey, I'm in profound right now. I just got off work, but
Oh, come on, give us something profound.
I need something profound, like how to get on your web page on a computer. And my computer literally, I'm running all that stuff.
Do you have a computer?
Well, my friend has one. Anyway, I told her that www.artbell.com.
No, www.artbell.com.
Dot.
Do I have the dots in the right place or it doesn't work?
Okay, and that's all it takes. Just push that in, the HTTP or whatever.
Well, yeah, you can go to what's called a web crawler and even just enter the name Art Bell and follow the yellow brick road and you'll get there.
The yellow brick road.
Well, metaphorically, the yellow brick road.
Okay, she'll know what I'm talking about.
In other words, it will then lead you in my webpage.
Okay, and just touch your Art Bell and it'll find itself.
Yes, sort of.
Okay, I'm computer ignorant. So, I just remember what I'm up against someday.
Well, go find your friend and have your friend teach you.
Yeah, that's the concept.
It is.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I recommend to everybody that you build some basic computer literacy for yourself. And if you don't do it for yourself, then do it for your children. Go and get them a computer. They'll learn. They're pliable. Their little minds will grasp it quickly, and it will help them through life. I want to repeat this morning, I've got Vivian on, and Vivian is almost too cool. It is an opportunity for you to call. You can go get on my webpage or call my bulletin board and get a copy of the software. Load it into your computer, and then call and see me sitting here doing my show. Not only see me, but hear me in full color. By the way, I want to advise people. You will notice a gigantic difference if you put your color in, put your computer in at least 16K of color. It'll work if you put it in there at 640, 480 times 256. It will appear in color, but it'll be very dithered. If you go to 16K color at least or higher, oh, you get a beautiful color picture. There really is a big difference. Wildfire line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hello, Art.
Hello. Turn your radio off, please.
Huh?
Off.
Hello, Art. Hello, Art.
Okay. Are you east of the Rockies? You're on the air. Hello.
Hello, we'll get the radio off.
Thank you.
Art,
What did you do? Drop me on the floor?
yeah, I had to run a couple radio off.
Do you realize that when you drop me on the floor, you're dropping millions of people on the floor?
Oh, I'm late.
No. Where are you?
I'm in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
All right, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. I just kind of wanted to comment on what you call the quickening.
Yes, sir.
I believe it'd be better named as maybe the tribulation. Maybe possibly.
Maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get the same feeling as I do, but it's just like no one has a conscience. Everybody has a demon mentality.
Everybody has a demon mentality?
Or not everybody.
Most people, huh?
Well, yeah. No, nobody trusts anybody these days.
Well, you maybe possibly are right, sir. I've got to run. We've got a break. Thank you very much for the call. Maybe possibly we'll be right back. Coast to coast, video and audio, absolutely astounding. Here's a what if for you. What if my mother were my father, and my father were my mother? Would that turn me into a woman? It's a woman, sir. That's John in Old Tucson. Only you would never have missed your man, but because he never would be there. So don't worry about it. This, Gerard, perhaps this is another sign of creating, but many times when you're on the air, the AOL network decides to go down in maintenance, making it impossible to get to your website. Well, that's not the quickening. That's the slowing. And they do that because these are the hours in which they go down. like radio stations, but they're not very much over maintenance. You can do it at night. Yeah, well, I think the quickening is the finale for religion. It means we're getting rid of the infestation of a belief which worships a God who, if really existed, allowed an innocent teacher to be smothered to death while she planned for her life. Pleading, that is, for her life. After we are cleansed of this plague of religion, we can look forward to living a life without the interference of influence of those who would believe in a deity. Mark the atheist in Louisiana. God, I'd like to talk to you one of these days, correct? I just like to talk to the guy. With this, all right. What if they constructed airplanes from the same material that black boxes are made of? Would everything in the event of a plane crash remain intact? Andy in LA, he's got a picture of a little airplane. It's true, the black box always survives a plane crash, doesn't it? It's always intact, or generally intact. So he has drawn a picture of an airplane and simply suggests that the material that's used for the black box be applied to the entire airplane. Can't fault that for thinking exactly, Andy. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Good morning, Art.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm Magic Christian.
Yes.
Calling you from Ventura by the Sea, California.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you, the information dearth that's going on about Hogan's press conference is where we about 2.5 hours or 3.5 hours away from it now.
It's maddening. You know it's going to be on the IRC chat channel.
Yeah, I'm not on the net. I've got a computer, but I'm not hooked up.
Okay.
Well, I know that he sent out press packets, and I don't know exactly how extensive that they were. You may know more about that.
Well, I've heard that in one form or another, C-SPAN may be there. They may not do it live. CNN apparently has a place. There are a number of national size local outlets that are going to attend. The Discovery Channel plans to be there, so it's not like it's not going to be covered, but live coverage, it doesn't look like it.
Well, just the fact that there's been the dearth in the week preceding it, or since Friday night, when he publicly released this information through your program, tells me that there is a whole hung, if not an active, conspiracy to keep this out of the news or downplay it at the very least.
I believe that.
And I've got a rage. I'm telling you, it's building up, and I can be a whirlwind. If this is downplayed, I mean, this is momentous stuff. It's big, and if they try to slough it off, I mean, I rank this right up there with fire, the wheel. I mean, you know, do you?
Yes, I do. In other words, if the information is accurate, and I think there's at least enough substance to demand it be examined, then yes, it is that big a story. I'm not, I'm not a scientist, and I listen as you do to Richard. But he's got an awful lot behind him.
Well, I believe him.
And it's not just Richard. He's got people from inside NASA that are going to stand up and tell their story. Now that is news.
Exactly.
Sure.
I'll tell you, if they try to paper this over somehow, it isn't just stupid. Like, I mean, he was trying to give them too much credit, I think, before when you remember that little bit that he talked about the stupidity of things?
Yes.
I believe it's evil. I believe that there's evil motivation behind something that big and that process. It's a deliberative effort. It has to be.
Maybe it's magic. Well, Christian, all right, thank you very much. Two things. First, there's no such thing as a 99th degree Mason. 33 is the highest. Second, I figured out what deja vu was about a year ago, and I actually remembered these events happening before. In a dream about 2 days prior to the deja vu feeling. It wasn't just a feeling, but a real memory of a dream. Well, sir, I realize that publicly, 33 is the highest. And I'll just leave it at that. And if you choose to believe I am not a 99 degree Mason, that's your business. In fact, it's probably better if you believe that. Wildcard line, you're on the air. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Art. I'm calling from West Hollywood, California, and I don't know if you touched on the issue of the Menendez brothers, today at all. But I'd like to share a couple of quick impressions with you. About an hour ago, I was going to the market, and I live in Los Angeles. I live off the Sunset Doheny, and they live on Elm Drive, which is about 4 or 5 streets west of me. And on my way to the market, I took a detour by there, and I stopped in front of the house, which is blacked out. I think they're kind of keeping their heads down, the new owners, because all the other houses on the street are illuminated. And I sat there and rolled down the window, and I thought, those two chumps, however long they live, they will never again be able to be where I am right now, looking at the front of that house.
That's true.
And then I went to the market, and amazingly, the checker knew nothing about it. I said, well, I'm sure glad there's Menendez brothers got convicted. He knew nothing about it. And I told him that they had been convicted first degree with special circumstances. He said, finally, there's some justice in this country. You know, I don't know.
I guess that's the way I felt about it when I saw it too. All of us felt that, this business of we were what was the abuse excuse, incest, or we were scared or whatever it was, so we took shotguns and blew them away in the middle of the night. No way.
Oh, I never bought that. I never even made a down payment on that story. But I don't know. That's not really anything worth calling you up about, I'm sure. But I just, I know you're heard all over, half the world. And I thought, well, I happen to be somebody who just an hour ago was sitting in front of the Menendez.
As you point out, you've done something they will not do again.
Never.
Thankfully.
Thank you.
Have a good morning. Art, forgive me, I picked up a lot of non-essential information in school. I love your show, but will I ever live without a sleep deficit again? There's so many faxes here. Here's one for your quickening list. This week, a jury acquitted a man of murdering his girlfriend, pregnant, with their 6-month-old child. There was overwhelming evidence to the contrary of the acquittal. Also, a woman's boyfriend was convicted of murdering her 8-year-old son and tossing his body over the backyard brick wall and into an empty field. The woman convicted of endangering a minor and child neglect resulting in death. Maybe the quickening is another meaning for awakening, but it also sounds like the end of innocence to me. Jeremy in Bakersfield. Jeremy, I suspect the quickening is both at the same time, the end and a beginning. And I don't know if that makes sense to you, but that's the way I feel about it. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Well, hey, I'm so glad I got through because I can't get through on the east of the Rockies there.
Well, then you made it here.
Oh, that's great. When do you think they're going to have that cleared up for you?
Where are you?
Excuse me?
Where are you?
In Denver.
Denver.
Yeah.
Well, you are now considered west.
Well, just like that, only today's technology.
Yeah, only in today's technology.
I had a fantasy for you. I was wondering, out of the clear blue, this has nothing to do with what you're talking about at all. But and you might run this by Richard Hoagland there when you talk to him. Because you know what deja vu, everybody talks about having deja vu.
Sure.
What do you think that is?
Deja vu is simply the feeling that you have been this place before and done this thing before, or whatever.
Okay.
So it's either a real memory, or there are just things that remind you of something.
And I would propose that what this is when we realize for a split second that time is relative. And you think about that before you give a quick answer. And ask Richard Hoagland about that.
All right.
Doesn't that kind of sound like that kind of makes sense?
Not yet, but no, not yet.
Not yet, but yeah, okay. Well, anyway, I had another thing for you too, Art. I was wondering, since you're getting so many new stations out there and everything, and I was wondering, has anybody ever, how I was like Donahue and stuff like that, they put out a thing in the newspaper the other day that I saw where certain percentages, how much the talk show host will talk during the show versus how much the audience talks.
Right.
And I was just wondering if has anybody ever done anything like that on you? Have you ever seen anything like that or considered that quotient?
No.
The reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's hard. I noticed that you're getting more and more listeners. It's getting harder to get through.
Well, that's not because I'm doing more talking. It's because there's a lot more people out there.
No, I wasn't there because you did more talking.
All right, thanks.
That's what you get your job for.
That's a good point. Hired to talk, born to talk. So now I don't think anybody's done those numbers, but now that you've said it, somebody will. Dear Art, what if Bill Clinton ever exhales? Al Gore, what if Al Gore ever gets an original thought or even a personality? What if Hillary Clinton ever tells the truth? What if we ever find an honest politician? Wow. That's from Nora down in San Diego. Thanks, Nora. First time caller line, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi, this is Tom in Harvard, Kansas.
Hello, Tom.
I'm a ham operator. I heard that you are.
I am W6OBE.
Yes, can I get my call?
No.
Okay, I won't.
Because that could lead to your location.
Okay. I'm just sitting here waiting for Oscar 13 to come around. It's down on the...
Oscar 13 is a ham satellite.
Yeah, it's down there on the west side of Australia right now, coming around up towards the United States.
Coming around the bend.
Yep.
All right, my friend.
Well, you have a good morning and take care.
Take care. That's a ham, and hams have satellites. I have been bitching and moaning for a long time that hams don't have. We're so far behind it. We should have geosynchronous satellites. Why there are not at least 2 ham geosynchronous satellites above the U.S. blows me away. Why the ARRL, the Amateur Radio Relay League, has not pressed for this, I don't know. Hams could have a communication network set up. Well, maybe I do know. Maybe it would rival too many commercial operations. I know it's technically possible. Could it be piggybacked? You bet it could. Would it have to be kept in a very small box? No, not necessarily. It could be allowed to drift a little. Wouldn't hurt anything. That's made me angry for years. Wildcard Line, you're on the air. Good morning.
Oh, we still not hard. I got through.
You did.
Hi, my name is Amy. With us here.
How you doing, Amy?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
All right.
I called and I wanted to tell you I would call sooner if I known you had cats. I have 2 of the adorable little vicious monsters myself. And I want to tell you that cats purr for a lot of different reasons. I don't know if you've already heard this tonight because your show cuts off where I am at 5 o'clock.
Right.
Eastern. So, anyway, cats purr for a lot of different reasons. And one of the reasons that they purr is when they're hurt, when they don't want to fight. So, basically...
Could have been.
Yeah, what I'm saying, little comment is probably telling you is, I'm scared. Yep. I just got out of the hospital. Yep. I'm hurt. I'm frightened. Yep. But you're a lot bigger than me, and I don't want to fight you.
Well, that's good sense.
So I'm going to purr to make you happy so that you don't fight with me.
Well, it worked. I didn't hit him.
Well, but that's how you want to get used to the house?
Yes.
Neutered pugs are the most docile form of house cat you can get. So Little Shadow will be kicking cat rear all over the house.
I'm sure you're correct. Thank you very much, Amy.
Sure.
See you later. Little Comet is presently behind the washing machine. Art, what if David Koresh had simply surrendered and gone to jail? When you think about it, Waco coincides with the beginning of the quickening. Yes, things have been quickening for years. But that day is when the madness really began. Think about it. Would the Republican Revolution ever have happened? Would the Oklahoma bombing ever have happened? What if? Josh Auburn. A lot of people are seeing the comment, and I'm not, and it's really bugging me. I'm going out after the show, and I'm going to try again. Here's another one. Art, I finally found the comment. Here's my explanation. It's in nearly a straight line with the 2 bottom stars and the Big Dipper's Dipper. About 1/4 of the sky toward the horizon to the east is a very bright star. Hold your hand out at arm's length, make a fist. Just past the bottom of your fist is going to be the comet. I use binoculars, and I think I can make out the beginning of a tail. Has anyone else seen this, Mike, in Olympia? What if someone wrote a book about Charlie? Would it be called Charlie is a Little Skinny Idiot? That's Ed in Portland. East of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Yeah, Art, this is Steve. And I drive between St. Louis and Kansas City.
Yes, sir.
On this comment, I'm having a hard time locating. I can find a Big Dipper and I can find the tail. Where do we go from there?
Well, I just read a fax on that very subject. You can hear it?
No, sir. I lose your signal right around Columbia.
All right, I'm going to read this to you. Okay. Art, I finally found the comment. Here's my explanation. In nearly a straight line, with the two bottom stars of the Big Dipper's dipper, about 1/4 of the sky toward the horizon to the east is a very bright star. Hold your hand out at arm's length, make a fist, just past the bottom of your fist is going to be the comet.
Okay, so the two bottom stars.
Yeah.
And then 1/4
of the sky toward the horizon to the east is a very bright star.
Okay.
Hold your hand out at arm's length, make a fist, just past the bottom of your fist is going to be the comet.
Okay.
All right.
That's real nice. And then one other thing.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way, how do we get a hold of KCMO to get them to turn the signal up at night time so I can hear you all the way across?
Well, they have an attitude.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
So they need to change it.
You know, I still say that picture of me in kindergarten should be on a billboard somewhere in Kansas City. Radio with an attitude is their slogan, you know. And you have never seen a photograph like that one. Definite, severe attitude. Boy, this from Birmingham, Alabama, got everybody seeing it. I'm feeling really left out. Dear Art, just got back from looking at the comet. First clear skies here since about this time Monday morning. Be sure to step out and take a look when you get off the air. You can't miss it. A little more than 10 degrees east of southeast of Arcturus. In 20 times binoculars, it is a spectacular sight, with a clear ion tail spreading back toward the west and northwest. Far more spectacular than Haley ever was in 1986, and it's not even at its closest yet. Ron in Birmingham, Alabama. So people are seeing it now all over the place, and I feel deprived. Wildcard Line, you're on the air. Hi.
How's that?
That's me.
This is Angel from Los Angeles.
I like the name Angel.
I have a what if?
All right.
I have it written down here.
You had it written down?
Hold up.
All
Let me
right.
turn it down.
Yeah, no, turn the radio.
Radio, right. What if everyone knew that internal fulfillment was in human self-giving, devotion, and love?
Well, then I wouldn't have war and crime and death.
Wouldn't that be great? And man would know that becoming a man is from self-giving.
Well, then what's becoming a woman?
You know, man is, say man is.
Oh, you mean mankind?
Mankind.
Okay. I thought that might have been a male bash.
No.
All right.
I love your show. All right.
I'll see you later. That'll about do it for this hour. In many time zones, we'll be back with more in a moment. So stick around, be informed, breathe. Several times over your radio network. Tonight down was a mission of Coast to Coast AM from March 20th, 1996. Everybody wants it back. You know what I think we're going to do? I think we're going to make this a double vote. And this one is for the story I've got for you right now. You're not going to believe this. This is the story I just got. The government is preparing to consider in England ordering that all 11 million cattle in Britain should be slaughtered in a final bid to wipe out mad disease, according to the health secretary there. Can you believe it? They're really worried over there. A wholesale slaughter is, he said, one of the options that is now open. The dramatic move in the nationwide BSE scare came a day after the government admitted there is a link between, get this, mad cow disease and CJD, and confirmed it was now known that 10 people were suffering from a new strain of the brain disease. All 11 million cattle. They're considering killing every last COVID now. Oh, well. You're on the air. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Bell.
Yes, Leonard.
Well, I decided to put my select antenna on the Bible and see what I could come up with about your quickening.
You're not on 666, eh?
No.
Ah, that's good.
It's,
You don't want to listen?
I've got three things. I've got three answers. The reason, and also the cause and the effect. The reason, you'll find where it says that in the days, in the last days, it'll be like the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. So you go back to Sodom and Gomorrah, what do you find? And you find that the kind of cause and the effect.
Well, that was in the 60s, Leonard. Sex, drug, now we have AIDS.
Now we've got a letter from the White House telling about the Clinton administration pushing the homosexual agenda. They're really pushing it, and even demanding that the employees, government employees, take courses in homosexuality.
You know what, Leonard? I've got facts here, and maybe you should try to answer this for me. It says, what if God was a homosexual?
Well, what if he wasn't?
Well, I asked first.
Why does God call it an abomination?
Well, that's a good answer, Leonard.
Remember where it says that the earth is going to vomit out its inhabitants because of homosexuality.
Maybe that's what the volcano.
So that's what the quickening is. The earth vomiting out its inhabitants. And even tells you in there definitely that the aliens are going to come in and take over the land. They're vomits out its inhabitants.
The earth will vomit out its inhabitants. Somehow I'd rather not be vomited out. Friends and guys, closest thing we can get to. Welcome to Rockies, you're on the air. Hello. That's true. That's me.
All right, how are you doing today? Good morning.
Yes, thank you.
How are you doing? I got a few comments here. First off, with the Richard Baldwin, I cannot believe Superman is not going to be sharing it. And they have just gone to boycott her.
Well, they're going to cover everything that there's going to be something about some president's name being used.
Yeah, it's all ridiculous. Don't even care about that, Move to the century.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And when I also have to agree by sexual agreement, because that's something that ain't right there. All right, have a good night.
Just want to be a candidate on the church. As I'm trying to actually sit down there and type it in live as it occurs. Moreover, you're going to be able to ask questions. How you ask before I get to the IRC chat channel. You go to my webpage. It will tell you all about it there. Easiest way. I can't explain it all here. Go to my webpage. It is www.artbell.com. That's www.artbell.com. You'll be instructed, and it'll begin in about 3 hours. Wildfire Line, you're on the air.
Bill from Ohio.
Hi, Bill.
You went on the air about 15 minutes ago. I only spent the last half hour. And did I hear you correctly to say that Richard Overton is going to cover country?
Well, there's going to be some television there, certainly. But we don't think at this moment C-SPAN is going to cover it, but it might. You know, plans could change at the last moment. We just don't know.
It would throw an idea about it, just for future reference. I have a man of very different who is extremely big in international skills and working kind of a little bit. Richard Becky, I can put you originally covered.
Absolutely.
Well, I think you can read the fact and then, and I think, I don't have a fax machine, but I can send you a fax one publicly.
Okay.
And when you can call him, he's a very soon, stuff like this. And we don't know Richard Church because of the way, so I think it's very interesting to find out. Is there anything going to anything on cable in the morning?
I don't know. Really, I don't know. But yes, there are all kinds of different reports. Some say yes, some say no. So I don't know.
All right, well, I'll try to track this. I will track this and if you do this thing, I will fax you.
All right.
Not that we need to do it over the radio.
No, that's right.
And if you remember,
Thank you very much. And by all means, do that. Yeah, it's really important that we get somebody with DDR and FDR's name into legal arguments. That is what they're supposed to run instead of those news conference. C-SPAN was on the fence for the last 2 or 3 days, and so we don't know. The answer is we don't know. It may be covered, it may not. The news conference will occur at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. That is 6 o'clock in the morning here in the West. Check your checks. Eastern Rockies, you're on the air. Hello?
hello, I'm Mel.
That's true.
I have to turn my radio down.
Yes, you do.
I'm checking out your arm lengths, estimate of 10 degrees.
It's not mine, it was a faxer's.
Oh, yeah. I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota,
Yes, sir.
and I'm also interested in your magnets.
Okay.
But I have a Chinese Indian friend standing next to me. And they're listening to you about China. And we also, she's teaching me Chinese. She's teaching me the directions of the compass in Chinese.
Okay.
If you face south, Shandong is east. In other words, America is east if you're in China. If you face south,
Well, it's west too.
yes. Shandong is east facing south.
But from China, America could be reached either from the east or the west.
Well, if it was left, it would be UC.
Well, right.
Shandong, you see, Yunnan is south, Dubai is north.
All right, well, I appreciate the lesson. Thank you. But you missed my point. It's from America. You can get to China by going either east or west. Or if you really want to get down to it, get a globe, and the shortest route actually would be, I believe, up near the pole. That's how our airplanes get there.
That's why a lot of them fly, they pull it up. A lot shorter.
First time caller line, you're on the air.
Hello?
Hello,
Adele?
that's me.
God, I have been trying to get a hold of you for 6 months.
That's a long time.
And I figured there must have been a trick to do it.
Just what? Where are you?
I am at Clothing Reviews in the KS.
Okay, turn it off.
I don't have it on. I have my teaching on. I'm doing that right now. And I have.
You mean you're calling a radio show and watching TV?
Yeah, because I always hear you with the radio on, and I know that makes me mad. I thought, well, I'll just watch TV and then what I can do, I'll just
Okay.
and I love your program, and I wanted to go to the Civic Center this past Saturday.
Oregon, that's the Oregon Convention Center.
Yes. Well, I would say the Civic Center because that's the old one.
The spires and stuff.
And there were too many people, so I didn't. So I really want to look. Every time you call me on a credit card number, I don't own a credit card.
Well, you can send a check.
Well, I would like to know the number when it's interested.
No, give me that.
Oh,
You call that 800 number and say, give me the address where I can send a check.
okay.
All right?
All right.
Do you have the number?
I have the one number.
Okay.
Okay. The question I wanted to ask you is, I work at a bank,
Right.
and I'm a proof operator.
You're what?
I'm a proof operator.
What is that?
You know when you cash a check, and then you give your return check?
Sure.
There's the amount that you write on the check
Yes.
appears in the lower right-hand corner. That's what I do. I put that amount there. Well, lately we have got tons of government savings bonds in.
Really?
Yeah, tons of them.
Interesting.
And it's been bothering me because of all the stuff that's been going on with the government.
Yes.
If there's a reason that everybody is passing in this savings bonds.
And losing trust.
And
Because, of course, you take a pretty big hit when you do that.
yeah, because you only get like, it's only come on phone, you only get like $2 or $3
Right.
worth of interest.
Right. No, that's not a good sign. How abnormal is it? How much more than normal are you getting?
Well, see, I've been working there not quite a year. And when I first started working there, you could get a lot of really old ones, like maybe somebody was dying and
Sure.
their kids were turning them in.
Sure.
And they're worth like 10 times more than the base value.
Right.
But lately, we've been getting tons of them in that are only worth like $5 or $10 or $20 over I'm not over the face value. But like if you buy a $50 savings bond, you buy it for $25.
No, I know.
And then you get $5 to be cash it in on the interest. And I mean, today I did one basket that I had was like over 100 savings bonds, and the interest was only like $2.26.
Oh my, listen, I really appreciate your call. I think that is very worrisome. And what it indicates is that people are getting scared and they don't trust the government. Now, that'll manifest itself in the way you have described at the bank, people cashing in bonds. And it will manifest itself in offerings by the government. In other words, one of these days, our government is going to offer bonds to further extend the debt, and nobody's going to come to the party. When you see that happen, head for the hills, folks, because that's the end of the line. With good faith and trust of the U.S. government expires, the ball game is over. That's when you're going to wish you had some gold. First time caller line.